I'm at an Indian restaurant, and I think they're rapping in Punjabi. India has many languages, but in one of them right now, I am listening to rap. Awesome. Oh, nice. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, this will be it for now. Thank you. Got my garlic naan bread. I love Indian food. Did I tell you how much I love Indian food? Got my rice. Let's see. Where's my camera so I don't look too crazy? My rice. Eating rice. My paneer. Mango. Ampong. I think that's what it was. So I've already resigned myself to looking crazy, eating and talking to my phone, but it is what it is. I've eaten Indian food in India, in Canada, in the US. And what do I think about this one here in San Diego? I don't think it's much to write home about, but again, can't go totally wrong with Indian food. So today, I want to talk a little bit about crime. I mentioned how San Diego for a major big U.S. city has a lower crime rate than most other cities. It would be a good study for somebody to figure out why exactly that's the case. It's the second largest city in California. Has over 1 million people. But yet, you don't really hear about the violence in San Diego so much as you do in LA, especially New York, or my birth city of Chicago. And I think a lot of people, thinking people anyway, are kind of just tired of the excuses of why nothing seems to be happening about crime. One of my one of my friends from elementary school just had a relative shot in Chicago in the Lincoln Park area around DePaul University. people in Chicago may have heard about this story. Thankfully, it looks like he's going to pull through, but this was just a horrible thing. You know, I don't want to pretend like I don't know anything about violence in Chicago or that violence in Chicago is new, because that's not the case. When I was 5 years old, I grew up in Inglewood in Chicago. And very few people know this story, but when I was 5 years old, and my older cousin was walking me home from school, right across the street, I'm going to set a timer, because I don't want to talk too long, and I think on Twitch, I think after a while, it might cut you off and you have to start again. So I'm just going to go for about 20 more minutes. So I'll set it for 20, my little alarm, 20. Not 120, 20. So I was telling you, in elementary school, I was actually in kindergarten, and my cousin was picking me up from school. Right across the street, lying on the ground, was a guy who'd been shot in the head. He was dead, and blood covered the sidewalk. And I think my cousin, to this day, he tried to keep it from me. He tried to hide that by quickly covering my eyes. But he got an A for effort, but I still have the image of the man just lying on the sidewalk, dead, shot in the head. And you had to kind of cross over his body because I guess the police hadn't been there yet. Yeah. I've had classmates, both in elementary school and high school, succumb to violence by gun. So it's not new. I mean, and let's be honest, Chicago has a reputation. I mean, go all the way back to Al Capone's. Chicago's had a history of gang violence. But I think what we're seeing today is something from another planet. You're literally scared to walk down the street. And the violence, for example, in Chicago, has touched places that you normally wouldn't associate feeling unsafe. We're talking about downtown, which was always a refuge. If you wanted to just go and see how beautiful our city is and was. Now, you know the McDonald's that was in the news recently? The McDonald's that was in the news recently in Chicago? I can't tell you how many times I've been to that McDonald's. And in high school, I worked in the summer for Train Chicago Business doing an internship. So I was always by that McDonald's and by that. So far, so good, brother. Thank you. I've walked by that McDonald's, I can't tell you how many times, and to think, again, the violence is now on the Gold Coast, the smash and grabs. But I know I can't be the only one wondering, what are the answers? Leaders need to lead. And I don't feel that in Chicago right now leaders are leading. So after the young man was killed at the Bean in Millennial Park in Chicago, the mayor modified basically what was already an existing curfew law on the books. But do you actually think just by barring these youth from Millennium Park that violence is just going to go away? What was absent from Mayor Lightfoot's response was how to empower parents that feel absolutely powerless, helpless, because they don't know where their children are. These kids live with them, but they don't listen. Many of them are in single family homes. Many of them are living in poverty and believe that they have no hope for the future. How do we let these kids know that they matter? That they too can succeed? Chicago has plenty of Fortune 500 companies, plus those that are under that as well. How is the Mayor Lightfoot, engaging with these civic leaders, with these business leaders, to do internships like I had when I was in high school? Like I mentioned at Crane Chicago Business, at NBC5 in Chicago, at the Chicago Defender. These kids need hope. They need to know that there are alternatives to gangs. But where are they? Just slapping a curfew on them isn't going to do much of anything. So Mayor Lightfoot is up for re-election next year. And the people of Chicago have some answers that they need. But the question is, will they have the right questions? We can no longer deflect. This violence is touching more and more people within our own lives, as I mentioned with my classmate. When I was in 8th grade, I had a classmate get killed. Didn't even make it to graduation. Then after graduation, I had another one. Didn't even make it out of her freshman year of high school. And she got shot and killed. Now take those harrowing stories and multiply them by 100, and that's what you have today. Where literally, you feel that there's nowhere safe to walk in Chicago. So what's going to be done? Same thing's going on in New York. Same thing's going on in Houston. Same thing's going on in LA. You have the wife of the movie executive, the music executive, killed in her home. There are fewer and fewer safe spaces. So I think the conversations that we've been having need to change. And the two-party system that we have in this country, it's either blame or get blamed. And there's no more time when lives are at stake for cheap political points and scores. We need actual answers. But we also need more civic engagement. Most people only, if they vote at all, only vote for president every 4 years. But anybody in politics knows that politics is local. Can you name your alderman? Can you name your Secretary of State? Can you name your lieutenant governor, your governor? Which judges did you vote for? You know, everything is not happening at the Supreme Court. And about abortion. How much you pay for a parking ticket, if you pay one at all, is done at the local level. So you have midterm elections coming up later this year. And you already know that Republicans are going to run on inflation and crime. Democrats, abortion. You need more. We need to talk about more than abortion. Because this stuff is affecting people's lives and people's pocketbooks. But I want to know, how can these mayors of these big cities, which are primarily Democrats, what are they doing about the violence? And in many of these places, I mean, I hate to go there, but I think I'm going to need some more paneer for what I'm about to say. For it not to taste all that great, I sure am devouring it, right? I'm hungry. You know what, let me have some more mango. Yeah. So, anything else? Still good, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you checking. He's nice. They probably think I'm crazy or talking to my phone, but I am a little crazy. But anyway, with basically the keys to the city and so many resources at hand, why are our black Democratic mayors failing our citizens? You know, a lot of people didn't like to admit that they couldn't really see tangible, a lot of black people anyway, couldn't admit that they didn't see any tangible results in their own lives when Barack Obama was president. It's a touchy subject. Look, success, competence, leadership have no color. They have no party. But you know it when you see it. Voters in these cities have to make a decision. Are your needs being taken care of? You can't keep blaming the top 1%, the top 10%. What are your local leaders doing for you? How are your schools where you live? How are your schools? Are you going to blame the top 1% for the failing schools in your own neighborhood? You can blame as much as you want. But if you want action, you have to take action. And it starts at the voting booth. You know, we have elections coming up in California for mayor and some other positions. It's a long ballot. I voted, put in the mail. You can do that here in California. And by the way, the election was not stolen. Anybody watching who is a Trump supporter or who believes the bogus kind of election was not stolen. But anyway, I dropped in my ballot. It's kind of depressing because there's nobody inspiring to vote for it. And if you live in a place like I do, where it's pretty much one-party control, you need to at least be happy with how you're being governed. And I think in a lot of red states, so-called red states, people are happier with how they're governed. I think in blue states, so-called blue states, a lot of people just tolerate it and make excuses for how it's another party that's keeping them from doing what they need to do. At any rate, I'm going to wrap up. I'm a little depressed. Again, there just seems to be no answers about the violence that's happening in our cities. Maybe you have some.